morning and welcome, everybody. I think everybody had a chance to register and arrive if they want to. Welcome to the Rethink HR webinar series. My name is Csaba Szabó, representing DEVELOR. I'm the managing director responsible for DEVELOR Hungary. And today we are going to talk about the role of HR and L&D in the implementation of ESG initiatives. So last year was the hottest year ever recorded, and we experienced very bad heat waves. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said, extreme heat is increasingly tearing through economies, widening inequalities, undermining the sustainable development goals, and killing people. It is estimated to kill almost 500,000 people a year. So very bad year from the climate point of view. This used to be a lake in Hungary where I lived and probably disappeared forever. So drought is experienced last year and it impacted the economy very badly last year for us. This is the picture from yesterday. Danube is the largest river in Europe, and there's a very, very low water level today. So we are expecting drought this year as well. This cargo ship was stuck because of the low water level, and we cannot use Danube for traveling and transporting cargoes in a kind of sustainable and economic way. So lack of water supply will be a risk this year in country in the middle of Europe, in Hungary, where I live. So we expect, unfortunately, lack of food shortage, and probably food price inflation will skyrocket again. So even today, we are experiencing the impact of the climate change, and it's really clear that we've got to act now for a sustainable world. And when I talk about ESG with several people, they ask me that, okay, but how about the US? The US is moving backwards, and the Trump government is just undoing so many things and just cutting spending on sustainability. I had a chance to visit an American company recently in Hungary, Samsonite, producing these plastic hardcover suitcases for travelers. And their sustainability story, despite what their government is doing, I think it's really amazing. So let me just share you a few interventions, a few projects they have already launched and they are working on. They reduced their energy consumption with some new investments. They created so-called attitude forming programs, training programs for their employees, how to save energy in the factory. They are installing solar panels so that they can generate more sustainable energy. They are using completely reusable polypropylene as a raw material for their products, so it can be completely reused. They develop lighter products for the suitcases. So when you drive your car or when you fly, you can reduce your fuel consumption during your travel. And also they design truly for life. Some of their products, mostly they offer 10 years guarantee, but for some of their products, they offer a lifetime guarantee, and they are ready to repair their products as well. And also because of, in many cases, the wheel is the broken part or the weakest part of the product, they are designing the product in a way that they can replace, it can be replaced by the travelers, by users themselves. So you don't even have to take it to a service shop. So this is an American company. I think they are doing pretty amazing stuff for sustainability. Safety first is the slogan for many companies, and it takes several steps to get to on the journey, and probably you are familiar with the Bradley curve, which designed the journey for the safety environment or safety culture in a company, from reactive, where people are perceiving that it's a compliance issue, it's a mandatory task to do that. When they are launching for the full scale, for the full-fledged safety culture, people are not only taking care of their safety, but people are taking care of their colleagues, their co-workers' safety. So they get to the interdependent culture change for safety. I believe we are ahead of this kind of similar culture journey for ESG as well. For PricewaterhouseCoopers describing in their ESG maturity and ambition model 4 stages. Very similarly to ESG for the safety, many companies today probably perceive they are on the minimal stage when they perceive ESG kind of must do because regulators are mandating us to do, and also we are seeing fines if you don't do anything about that. Towards the trailblazer number 4 stage, when companies' ambition is to perceive themselves as trendsetters and pioneers for ESG and sustainability. I believe we are ahead of this kind of cultural change for many companies, for all companies. And I hope, and I truly believe that very soon, instead of customer first, safety first, things like that, I hope that ESG first will be the slogan and the headline for most of the companies. In this change from the black companies or the black businesses to green businesses, I believe HR and learning development has got a major role. And I just list a few of them. In major company changes and culture changes, HR and learning and development are supporting the change management initiatives with communication and engaging people and all kind of programs. I believe that ESG education is a major change in this culture change. And we have a role as HR community to create a positive attitude towards sustainability and ESG initiatives, and also create an engagement of people, because we want to see, as part of the strategy, as part of the company culture, and HR has a lot to do to adjust bonus schemes, performance appraisal systems, and launch all kind of initiatives to truly become a ESG driven company and to become a trailblazer number 4 stage company. Today in our webinar, we are going to cover several topics. We are going to introduce to you a fantastic solution, how to educate your people and how to create positive attitude towards ESG. We are going to introduce Selemi sustainability simulation, also 2 other programs, education programs, Green Mindset and Green Business. And we have a luxury to have a fantastic ESG person, a pioneer on this area from TBS Banks, Georgia's largest bank, on ESG in the learning, and she will talk about their vision. And we will have a panel discussion on several culture-related topics and ESG-related topics with panel discussion. Please, we will have some time for Q&A towards the end, but if you have any question, please just drop a question in the chat, and we try to monitor that, and we try to answer when we go. Let me just briefly introduce our panelists and presenters. We will have to talk about the Selemi sustainability simulation, Martin Landgren, and also Michael Björn will participate in the panel discussion. We will have Nana Berzenishvili and Eka Kopirea talking about green business and green mindset product. And once again, I would like to welcome Maka Bocharishvili, the ESG coordinator from TBC Bank. And she will talk about their perception and their vision about ESG at TBC Bank, Georgia. And I would like to just pass the word very briefly, very soon, to Martin Landgren, who's the manager of the EMEA Selemi Solution Provider Network. Martin is with Selemi since 2011. He's responsible for building up and developing the EMEA resellers of Selemi solution. Over the years, Martin has run training seminars in more than 30 countries. Wow. He has rich experience of adapting the Selemi solution to the context, goal, and target group to ensure lasting learning and to facilitate behavioral change. Welcome, Martin, and the floor is yours. Please talk about this fantastic solution to us.
Oh, thank you, Csaba. Thank you. I would like to start by saying that I actually had a call this morning with our CEO. He is currently in America, in Washington, at the ATD, that we all know, the big conference about learning and development. Every year we are there. Every year we see a lack of trainings when it comes to sustainability, which is a shame. We decided 3-4 years ago to do our part. We want to become more sustainable as well as a company, so we have created a training. And this year, still, we see the lack of really big picture understanding sustainability transformation trainings at the ATD. But this year, of course, you can guess the topic that is on everybody's mind, that everybody is offering now in one way or another. It's AI, artificial intelligence. And I would like to start by just placing one thought. You know, Google came, we Googled everything. We found out in our pocket that we could have instant knowledge as individuals. Now with AI, we also get the sources checked a little bit better. We also get it presented in a nicer and more structured way. And it's easy to tailor your own individual learning. But that's the what. We can find the knowledge, but how do we implement it, and how do we do it together with our peers? Social and event-based learning has never been more important. And that's what we represent here at Selemi. So we're very happy to show you the new solution called Selemi Sustainability. And it's in Hungary now also through our partner DEVELOR, also Czech Republic, Georgia, the other countries represented here. And we are also launching it in Hungarian language. It's brand translated. So I would like to start, before I start, I would like to ask the audience a question here. What would you say is the most sustainable choice in which we give you these two options? Buying a new electric car or minimize driving your old petrol car? You can write in the chat, what is the most sustainable choice? And while you think, because I'm sure you've had this discussion together with colleagues, together with family members and friends at some point or another, we as individuals are faced with so many choices, what to eat, where to travel, also where we should invest our money, which is an important aspect. Minimal the usage of the fuel car, I get the second option. Oh, you seem quite minimize driving, skip driving. Yes, there is good options here, and the right answer is always it depends, because we need to discuss this from different perspectives. Buying a new electric car, well, there are no emissions, but how was it produced? How will it be recycled? The cost of the production of the battery mainly. Also, how do you charge it, with renewable energy or not? Drive less of the old petrol car could be a good option, but can you think of a third option? Is there a way to be even more sustainable and maybe also earn a profit? This is a key question when we decide to become more sustainable as well, because it's not only about planet and people, it's also about the profit. It's got to be a business case as well. We know there is a lot of upcoming laws and regulations. How do we adapt to that? What is the competition doing? There is a lot to think of, especially if you move from the individual perspective to the company perspective, where you can have a huge impact. And that's what we have created now, a solution with 15 amazing projects that will make you more sustainable as a company. But what to do when, and what is the impact? What will the stakeholders say? What does the law say? It's all covered. So we are in business because we don't really believe in this kind of training anymore. The teacher speaking in front of a crowd, or a big boss trying to spoon feed a new strategy, maybe a sustainability strategy for a company as well, expecting everybody to take action. So to be honest, we all think like this every now and then. It happens. We learn in different way. This is theory-based. We believe more in an active-based learning. So leave the responsibility of the learning to the participants, make them the star of the show, and then the teacher becomes the coach, asking questions, listening, and drawing conclusions based on what you hear, so it could help bridge to the reality of the participants. So this is more our approach. Draw your own conclusions. And you need to rehearse the future. Sustainability transformation, well, there is a lot to think of. So you need to rehearse different kinds of scenarios and make the mistakes in a simulation so you can get it right in real life. You can compare this to being in a flight simulator, right? So you practice safely trying to land a flight in the mountains, or why not even on a river, so you could pull it off in real life when it happens, because it should be common scenarios, and that's what we have for you in this tool. We have been doing this since 40 years, so we have plenty of experience, and DEVELOR is now one of our many partners. We have 150 partners in 75 countries, and we really believe in local facilitators delivering in local language, but it's all event-based. And we are here to thanks to this man. His name is Claes Melander. 40 years ago, this year, we celebrate 40 years. He created Selemi, and also the first business simulation in the world. So he's quite a famous guy in the business for that. And he also revolutionized the school system in Sweden with this learning by doing approach. And it's quite simple, really. We use 4 principles for effective learning, or even effective communication. You first need to make sure everybody is engaged. So some kind of gamification, sometimes it's a competition, but at least it's very intuitive material that you work with. Secondly, you still need a facilitator, a coach, to listen and to help you bridge to your reality, what you should do different later. But most important is 70% of the learning time, we believe, should be within the teams themselves, exploring, experiential learning, making mistakes, learning through failure, and getting the perspectives from your colleagues. It's only if you run this together with your peers, practice taking decisions, and then get rid of the silo thinking, that you get this holistic view of a sustainability transformation. And as I said, we decided to do this without a client, without the need of the market. There was no science on ATD, but we know we need a training about this. So we spent 3 years picking the brains of 83 different experts. And after 3 years, we felt that we had the right solution for this. We launched it in Bucharest, and we were curious to see all these skeptical faces, how it will be perceived, and who would be the first clients. So the first clients we imagined would be manufacturing companies, but we were wrong. It was the banks. The banks, they know the future. They know what laws are coming up, and it's sooner or later, they should be the first ones. So they run this to have better conversations internally, but also together with their clients. Very important. And today we have all kinds of clients with this solution. It basically looks like this. You come into a room, you sit around a table with 3, 4 other people. That's your team. All the tables are competing against each other to help a fictive company become more sustainable. We don't use printed material for this. We don't want to ship material. It wouldn't be sustainable. So this is a digital solution. But more than 50% of all deliveries are still in the physical classrooms like this. But very easy. You can switch a table to a breakout room as well. So any Teams, Zoom, whatever you want to, use a breakout room. No software is installed as well. So this is just web-based. We use 3 categories of KPIs. This is the perspective of the planet, of people, and of profit. They are all equally important in the simulation, and you need to consider all of them. The winning team is the team that have implemented these transformation in the best way, taking all these 3 categories into consideration. We've split them up. They get 3 KPIs, additional KPIs per category. And of course, there are sub KPIs as well. But to simplify things, we focus on these 9. For instance, own employees and people. We also cover, of course, diversity, human labor rights, etc. And it's all about helping a fictive company. When you simulate, you should never simulate your own company. It should always be a fictive company. And then after a while, when we have played, we leave the simulation to talk about you. What have you just experienced? How can we connect this to your reality? This is super important for the learning. So let me introduce you to the company you're about to help. They are called Omnia, and here they are, looking straight at you in the eyes. They want your help to become more sustainable. They have ambitious targets. They have set a short-term goal 3 years into the future, but also a long-term goal 10 years into the future. And they have decided this is it. So they work in this geographical area, and to the right side of this island or geographical area, you have their supply chain. Omnia is over here, but then you have their suppliers, and the suppliers of the suppliers, they are covered over here, and the customers down here. As I said before, this is the holistic view, and we don't only look at Omnia. That's not enough. This is about scope 1, 2, and 3. So we also look at the suppliers and the customers, because their sustainability transformation is connected to who they work with as well. Can you in the chat maybe figure out who are the other stakeholders in a sustainability transformation journey? Who else will have something to say about what you do and do not do? I'll go through them one by one while you guess. You're very welcome to write in the chat. We have here a working man, and of course that's the employees of Omnia, but also the employees of the suppliers, the customers, and why not even the competitors who are down here. These are Antagon and Rivale, and they will be your competitors throughout the game. But in addition to them, you also compete against the other participants in the room. So a lot of competition going on. People living on the island is, of course, the community. They will have opinions about your actions that you take as well. And the money represents the owners and investors, a very important stakeholder. And I see the banks here, technology, we have the community, that's correct. And somebody wrote the state, they are up here. The government, new laws are coming, ESRS needs to be considered. We have covered it all. And this is a solution we always will continue to update. So it is up to date for whatever is valid right now. This is super important. And who has something to say about whatever you do? Who will tell the world about it? Who will write about it? Well, of course, the media. Media will write good news when you do something, bad news if you do nothing. And also a very important stakeholder. Throughout the simulation, you will be presented after a round with your own set of news based on what you decided to do. And that will, of course, affect your brand as well. Let me show you the overview of the training. This is a holistic approach, as I said, and we start by introducing the participants to the current state of sustainability for Omnia. They see a very simplified sustainability report. Where is Omnia doing good and where are they room for improvement? After that, they dive into the game and they play 3 rounds, 3 fictive years. Each year, you're presented with a number of initiatives to become more sustainable. They're all connected to the 3 KPIs categories, and they're all really, really good. You want to do them all, but you cannot. You have limited resources. And team-based learning, aligning, make yourself heard, try to prioritize and agree what to do with limited resources under time pressure. That's how we work. And in between the years, you of course have a deep dive and tailor this to the needs of your company. What are the initiatives you should discuss the deepest? What are the different success factors as well, going through the different stages of the simulation? But let me show you what it looks like as well. Diving into the solution, as I said, web-based, no software needs to install. We don't gather any information about the participants. There is a language button up here as well, so each individual can change it to their language whenever they want to, now also in Hungarian. Sustainability report, super simplified. It consists of 4 different items: planet, people, profit, and interview some people, some stakeholders, to really dig deeper the root causes where we have problems. So in this particular planet example that you see here, if we look at climate, the arrow is pointing on the red, and this is what we have as a problem. Not so much our own production, but look at the suppliers. It's a very big portion of our imprint here. So all the 3 scopes represented, and a conclusion a team might have when they see something like this could be, maybe we should take a closer look at the suppliers, because apparently something is not working there. They look at planet, they look at people as well, some indicators, and then the profit data. So very simplified. It's a 20-minute exercise just to set your own strategy going forward and interview some people. Then you could play the first round of the simulation, the first year. It looks like this. You have the geographical area. You could click on the stakeholders at any time. You could look at the sustainability report once again if you want to. And to the left, you have now 6 sustainability projects to choose from. And as I said before, they are all amazing. You want to do them all, but you cannot. Why not? Well, you have a budget of 8 million, and this is not enough to cover all the projects. So where do you start? Well, of course, you start by going into the simulation and clicking on the different projects. So first you have product designs. If we want to make products circular and reuse materials, well, read about it. What's the objective? What's the negative side effect? And what is the risk if we do nothing? If you want to decide to implement this project, well, then we also force you to assess and guess what are the 3 areas, 3 KPIs that you think will be affected the most. Could be positively, could be negatively. And then you mark these 3 areas. This is just an example, and that will allow you to invest in this simulation. And all of a sudden, we now only have 5 million. We've spent 3, so what else do we want to do? Maybe we should click on something else. No, wait, we are disturbed by stakeholders. Let's see what they want to say. Oh, look at the megaphones. Lots of people have something to say. If I click on the government, well, then they are talking about one of our suppliers, and they say that this supplier claim in the report that they are doing perfect scores on all 20 indicators of sustainability, which is, of course, too good to be true. Each statement that you see here is connected to something over here. So this one, I would say, since it's about a supplier, maybe we should audit them because their sustainability report does not seem to be in order. So maybe this is a project that we should choose. Going forward into the simulation, I'm also going to choose the employee one. Somebody now is saying, why didn't you switch to renewable energy? Yeah, that's the question. Maybe you could persuade me if we would be working together, right? Employees here, you calibrate it, choosing 2 options on what you want to focus on, and then you invest in that. I now only have 3 million to go, and I'm going to do the supply chain as well. So I'm not doing switching to renewable energy. I'm not increasing the fill rates and utilization in shipping, and I'm not even doing governance, which is a super important project. But let's launch this and see what happens. Then we see the impact of our decisions in the KPIs. The dark part of this bar means that it's the short-term impact, 3 years into the future. The lighter part is 10 years into the future. So also some comments from stakeholders. And after we have gone through that as a participant, we then also get the news from media. Each team, their own set of news. Media will write about what you have done, then you get good news. If you choose to skip some projects, that will have negative consequences as well. So here is a positive news for us because we actually audited our supplier. But that is something our competitors did not do. On the other hand, we did not switch to renewable energy, so we still rely on expensive fossil fuel. So this enhances the learning and also makes it a bit more fun for the participants and is something to consider going forward. What is the impact if you do it and if you do not do it? And in the end of the game, we ask each team to come up with a market message. And you cannot exaggerate your market message. You have to speak the truth, because if you exaggerate, of course, you will then be caught greenwashing, which will hurt your brand. In the end, we have, in this example, 16. We have a short-term winner, 3 years in the future, and we have a long-term winner as well. And that's what we do. It's very simple, but it's about gaining experience from all these great initiatives. It's about realizing that we need to act now. Because if we wait, there is a cost of doing nothing. And if we act now, we will be amazed that one project that we think maybe only has to do with planet also very much will have an impact on the people and on profit. So what are we waiting for? Let's just get this done and get started, right? That's it, what I had today. And you will later on in the panel be able to ask questions also to my colleague, Michael, who was the lead developer of this solution and who is the most sustainable person I know.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Martin, for sharing. Fantastic simulation. If you have any questions, please drop in the chat box so that Michael can be ready, can be prepared to answer these questions. But we'd like to move on with introducing 2 other very interesting education programs, Green Mindset and Green Business. And I would like to invite on the stage, and I would like to introduce to you Eka Koperia. Is the lead of ESG learning experience in DEVELOR, Georgia, with over 10 years of leadership experience across sectors. She is designing and delivering game-based immersive training programs that drive mindset change and sustainable behavior change. She has led the learning design and facilitation of the Green Mindset and Green Business programs and will guide us through today's presentation, sharing DEVELOR's approach to ESG learning and the evolution of our ESG training portfolio. Welcome, Eka, and I would like to give the floor to you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much, Csaba. I'm just presenting. You can see my presentation. Well, very happy to be a part of this conversation. Today, I want to talk not only about the solution that we offer at DEVELOR, but also about the inner journey we've taken as a company towards ESG by ourselves, because it was also the journey. I'd like to begin with something I often say during our training sessions. Yes, as human beings, we make mistakes. That's part of life. But what makes us unique is our ability to pause, reflect, and choose a better path. For me, sustainable development is exactly that. Humanity recognizing a mistake we've made and choosing to fix it. We use the resources of our planet without thinking, without understanding the consequences. And now we are facing the challenge of climate change and global warming. And what I've noticed, just a second, a little technical moment, what happens very often before I go into the details, okay, yeah. And what we often see is that people are overwhelmed by the size of the problem. Yes, they've heard of climate change, but don't always see their personal connection to it. And when they do, it can feel frightening, like, what can I do? That's where ESG comes in, not as a trend or regulation, but as a framework for responsible, impact-driven behavior. Environmental, social, and governance principles guide us toward more thoughtful, value-based decision. ESG challenges us to consider not just what we do, but how we do it and why it matters. Now let me shift to the solution and how DEVELOR entered this space. In 2000, we also, as Martin said, talk about the salami, we also had a pause towards our products, and it started in 2023. We joined a tender from TBC Bank, Georgia's largest financial institution. While we had worked with them before on leadership programs, this request was different. You'll hear from Maka, our guest today, about TBC's ESG vision and how they this project took shape. But what stood out for us was the perfect alignment of purpose. TBC wasn't looking for a typical ESG training. They wanted something human-centered, practical, and engaging. That's what we delivered. Our experience-based learning combined with coaching and game-based tools helped us to offer something unique. With TBC's deep insights into ESG implementation challenges, we co-created a solution grounded in real business needs. This became a milestone for ESG education in Georgia, supported by European funds of European Fund of Southeast Europe and Green for Growth Fund. Through this collaboration, the green mindset and green business programs were born, moving from awareness to action. It helped define how DEVELOR can drive ESG through experiential learning and support organization and in addressing one of the most critical topics of our time, by sparking growth through knowledge and purpose. So as I said, there were a lot of parts which were working on this project, and I'm really grateful to be a part of it and working with TBC and funds in creating something absolutely new. But before we introduce our ESG training portfolio, I'd like to pause and bring the focus to you, our audience. We shared a lot already. Martin talked a lot and showed you a great simulation that created in Salami. But he was also talking about the challenges that businesses face in this regard. So I'm asking you to think about your company path and to think about where do you stand right now. Take a moment and ask this question: what are your organization's current needs or challenges in the ESG direction? These structures, which you can see on the slide, just helps you to understand what is the common path towards ESG assurance in the organizations. So please think about it. It can be starting from awareness, internal alignment, trainings, compliance pressure, or leadership buy-in. There is no wrong answer. This is about clarity and connection. After a minute or two, we'll continue and we'll see how our solution aligns with the needs you just reflected on. Chaba, and I need your support here.
I'm ready.
Yeah. Just tell me what people are saying. What are their ESG challenges right now?
Please answer in the chat. What are your current needs or challenges related to ESG? And I'm
where your company stands right now in this regard. What do you need? Awareness. You need to understand in more detail what ESG stands for, or maybe you are starting the implementation of reporting standards. Where are you? Do we have?
Please answer in the chat. Javid said awareness.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Javid.
Anybody else? Maya, making it a business case and persuasive for all the stakeholders, staff, investors, general public, etc. So thank you, Maya.
Thank you, Maya.
Anybody else? So where are you standing? What are your needs? Where is your company stating? Xenia, strategy.
Strategy, right. Thank you, Xenia.
Most of us saying behavior.
Yep. behavior cannot be changed without an awareness and understanding of what the ESG is about. So it depends on the countries, what I'm observing, but in Georgia, for us, just awareness is a starting point, and we really, really want to make a difference in this direction. Okay, so I will go forward, but you still continue thinking about your companies and thinking where do you stand right now. But I will show you what we did together with the TBC Bank. The Green Mindset module focuses, this is our first foundation course, focuses on ESG, which is environmental awareness, but goes beyond facts. It helps participants build a personal connection to sustainability and shift the mindset. It can be delivered as a standalone program, ideal for raising awareness across teams or departments. What makes it powerful in its game? It is game-based methodology. Let's face it, ESG can feel complex and overwhelming. It's hard to make it engaging. That's where the Safe Earth board game is game changer. Through interactive play, participants tackle real-world sustainability dilemmas, make decisions, and experience the impact together. It's not just learning, it's emotion, dialogue, and the spark for the real action. The game doesn't just teach ESG, it makes people feel it, and that's what leads to change. Here you can see the elements of the game, and just let's talk a little bit about the game-based approach, because it's not just a novelty, it's a tool that truly transforms how people engage with ESG. During delivery, I always see how the energy shifts. The moment we start to play, engagement rises, people lean in, they get curious, and they get involved. You probably know how hard it is to hold anyone's attention these days, even for a few minutes, let alone through a PowerPoint or speech. Even now, I think that maybe we are struggling with it. And so thank you very much to still listening. That's exactly why we choose this method. The game-based approach ensures that participants are not just passive listeners. They are thinking, reacting, making decisions, discussing and learning together. It turns complex, sometimes dry ESG topics into something tangible, emotional, and real. And that's when change starts, not just in knowledge, but in mindset. Here you can see the topics that we have, that we are covering during the Green Mindset training course. Yes, we talk about climate, emissions, carbon footprints, but we also talk about the emotional side, the disconnection many people feel. We help them connect the dots between personal choices and global outcomes, between what they do each day and what they want for the future. This isn't about blame, it's about awareness. It's not just about transferring knowledge, because knowledge is everywhere. You can Google it, ask ChatGPT, find 1,000 reports. But awareness is not knowledge. Awareness is deeper. It's about understanding why something matters to you personally and professionally. It's about shifting values. And regarding, we already established why, but we also need to know how. After building environmental awareness in the Green Mindset module, the Green Business Workshop takes participants one step further into application and strategic thinking. This part of the program is built for practical implementation. It is designed for a wide audience, anyone in the organization, but it is particularly relevant for business leaders, sustainability teams, and client-facing roles. Here, people don't just learn, they create. They begin to see the solution already exists, sometimes within their reach, sometimes within themselves. The format is classroom-based, but highly interactive. The methodology is flexible and adjustable, allowing us to tailor it to different industries or a company maturity level. It works best with groups of 12 to 30 participants, ensuring both engagement and depth in discussion. The core of the session is the Go Green workshop designed to help people act on what they've learned. We guide participants through discussions, group exercises, simulation, and reflection. It's not theoretical. This is about preparing real action plans that can be aligned with the company's ESG goals. And here you can see the topic that we are covering. In co-authorship with the TBC Bank, we designed this program to be adaptable across industry, even though they were originally developed for financial institution, because the core message is the same. Every company has a role in creating a more sustainable world, and every individual has the power to influence that. And very briefly, how about the scope and the scale of this green journey? This kind of complex solution takes time. It needs to be built, tested, improved, and scaled. Fortunately, the program are already designed, a process that took around 6 months and included further fine-tuning, and now we are ready to deliver with some adjustment depending on each company's specific needs. The solutions are in place. When it comes to implementation, scale matters. As you can see, TBC Bank approached it with that in mind. You simply cannot train a few people and expect to shift the culture, especially when we are talking about mindset change and real action plan. In this project, we are going to train 1,200 people across the country. So far, we already trained 500 employees and over 50 clients. And the impact is visible. People are starting to connect to topic, rethink their roles, and find creative ways to apply what they've learned in real life. Most importantly, we see a clear drop in resistance. Centration on immediate priorities is true in Georgia and I believe elsewhere. And we don't always realize how deeply interconnected those are with sustainability. This program helps make that connection. And that's where the real change begins. So at the end, we realized that we weren't just building a training, we were creating a full ESG learning portfolio. At the same time, we had the opportunity to collaborate with the Salami, and you already know a lot about the Salami simulations. And we also saw that our existing programs on psychological safety and diversity and inclusion fit naturally into the social aspect of ESG. These topics are essential for building cultures of belonging, fairness, and trust, the heart of social sustainability. So now we have a portfolio which includes green mindset for awareness, green business for strategic action, Salami sustainability for simulation-based learning to make it real, to feel realms, diversity, inclusion, and psychological safety for social impact. And this is just a start. It's a safe learning space, and it's not only a training where professionals can reflect, connect, and shape a shared vision for sustainability. And as HR professionals, you play a key role in this shift. Many companies are already introducing ESG roles. Soon you'll be expected to lead capacity development in this area. So here's our message. Information is everywhere, but transformation happens through people, through real learning, reflection, and dialogue. That's what we aim to create in every ESG program we deliver. And now I'm happy to pass the virtual stage to Nana Berzinishvili, our ESG consultant and co-creator of Green Mindset and Green Business programs, who will share insights on integrating ESG into organizational culture. Nana Berzinishvili is a world-class ESG and sustainability expert with over 20 years of international international leadership experience in developing and implementing impact-driven business strategies. She currently leads major ESG projects in the energy sector, ensuring alignment with international investors and IFI standards while consistently advancing compliance, sustainability, and overall business performance. Nana, the stage is yours.
Hey guys, thank you very much. Thank you for introduction. I'm very happy to be part of this discussion. Very complicated introduction, I think. But what I would like to say, I love what I do, and I strongly believe that it's important. It's important for me as a person, and it's important for the environment and people around me. So Eka has provided great overview about particular solution we have co-created with DEVELOR to support ESG education and business. Now, what I would like to do in 5 or 6 minutes, I would like to zoom out a little bit and talk about bigger picture, how ESG becomes part of your organization, how does it become part of your culture, and why HR plays a critical role in this process. Well, I'm sure you're looking at the slide and it's complicated. It has so much stuff on it. And honestly speaking, it was done on purpose because my intention was just to present visually how complex ESG is. Oftentimes, people try to avoid talking about complexity, but it's true, and I'm not gonna lie. What ESG asks us to do right now is to think and make decisions which are shaping interests of shareholders and investors, but also all the decisions we're making should also positively impact society and environment. So nowadays, in my understanding, what ESG does, it basically impacts the way we think, the way we lead, the way we hire, and the way we learn. And I think when it comes to hiring, when it comes to development in the organizational context and learning, your role as an HR professional is crucial and very important. ESG, I will not again avoid talking about the complexity. And it's true that when we talk about ESG, it brings a lot of regulations, it brings a lot of rules, a lot of strategies to be created and then implemented. But honestly speaking, by the end of the day, it's about people. And you as an HR professionals know better than I do that you may have the best strategy, but without the right people on board, you will not be able to implement it. So I think this is something we should keep in mind. Also nowadays, and Chabas, thank you very much. You've mentioned this in the beginning, that there are a lot of talks that whether we need ESG or not, and you as a HR professionals may come up across with some article and maybe news that ESG is fading away, it's no longer important agenda. But honestly speaking, it's not true. Maybe in a short run, some of the strategies, some of the developments being postponed, but no one is saying that ESG is going to be cancelled. And if I would be in your shoes, if I would be an HR professional, I would rather use this time wisely to craft strategy, recruitment strategy, and also to craft the capacity development strategy within my company to get ready for the next wave of ESG regulations and ESG strategies. Honestly speaking, what I envisage in the nearest future, a lot of your CEOs will be knocking on your doors and asking you as an HR directors, as an HR managers or business partners, do we have right people inside the organization? Or how we are attracting the right talent. And I think when we talk about ESG, guys, the right talent means somebody who understands sustainability, somebody who understands ethical business conduct, because ESG is about governance and how we implement business and business processes, and also somebody who understands the inclusive leadership. This is really very, very important. Another thing I am coming across in Georgia and elsewhere, work in different countries, is that many HRs and sometimes even business leaders are telling me, but look, Nana, it is not working for us. So it has not worked for some company, and this is true. And if you tackle it a little bit, in every analysis I have undertook, it showed me that whenever ESG integration was brought in the picture of company, it fell due to the lack of understanding of context, because like consultant or newly hired person could not understand the maturity of the company and could not identify the right entry point, how to mainstream the ESG. And here again, your role is crucial because you are there, you possess all the organizational knowledge and you know context the best. So I think even though it's not solely up to the HR people to mainstream ESG in the company, but your knowledge, your understanding, and the pillars you're managing, especially in terms of capacity building and awareness creation in the company, is crucial if you are serious about the ESG integration. In conclusion, I would like to say that, as I mentioned, ESG is complex, and it will be absolutely unfair to expect people to deliver on it without giving them right information, right? And in particular, in this moment, training and capacity building appears to be your strongest ally. And in my understanding and in my experience, what I observed, when you are thinking about the ESG capacity building in the context of the company, it's oftentimes two layers. The first one, it should, of course, close the knowledge gap, which is important. But on the other hand, it should create awareness. And I think what Eka has presented and Maka will be talking in a couple of minutes, DEVELOR has already created like evidence that it is possible to provide information through different innovative solutions to the company members and increase their awareness and understanding about the ESG. Well, I can talk for hours about ESG, which I often do, but we are very limited in terms of times. Shortly after the presentations, we're going to have the panel discussion, and I would love to invite all of you there, and we'll be happy to answer your questions in that format. And over to you, Eka. Thank you very much for your attention.
Eka, thank you, Nana and Eka. Eka, probably the question is to you by Ildiko
Yeah.
Fekete. Are employees and customers working together or separated groups? If you are talking about green mindset and green business, can you please just answer it very briefly before we go on?
Yeah, it's separate trainings. Employees are working together and clients is a separate training. So it's two separate trainings.
Thank you, Ildiko, and I really would like to encourage everybody, if you have any specific question, just drop in the chat box and we try to answer it. Let's move on, Eka.
Yes, let's move on. And Maka, now the stage is yours, and I will shortly introduce you. Maka Bojolishvili brings over 15 years of experience in the banking sector and has served as ESG coordinator at TBC Bank, Georgia's largest financial institution, since 2021. With a strong background in risk management, she has led teams in capital and liquidity management, governance, regulatory reporting, and information security. Today, she provides strategic leadership in ESG, championing sustainability, diversity, gender equality, and inclusion, both within TBC and the wider business community. Maka will share with us TBC Bank's vision for ESG learning, her experience collaborating with DEVELOR, and the outcomes of this unique and impactful joint project. Maka, the stage is yours.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me. Hello, everyone.
Yes, we can hear you clearly. Thank you, Maka.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So, Eka, thank you for my introduction. So I would like now to go to the real topic I like to talk, because I'm not a fan of talking about myself. So maybe we can go to the first slide. First of all, for the audience who is not maybe familiar somewhat with TBC Bank, a short introduction about TBC Bank and TBC Group. So TBC Bank is a part of TBC Bank Group PLC. This is a company which is listed on the premium segment at London Stock Exchange and is a part of FTSE 250. And this already emphasizes that the international standard that's of sustainability, ESG, these are very genuine to us from the beginning. So we are operating in Georgia, Uzbekistan, and Azerbaijan. However, here I have a few figures about Georgia. In Georgia, we have more than 8,000 employees and serve monthly basis 1.7 million customers. So through our digital channels, for example. So to the next slide, first of all, what I would like to say, because I was as well following the comments in our chat, and when you asked about the needs, what are the challenges in the companies, people answered different things. Someone said behavior, another said strategy, then make a business case, and so on. And this is really one topic, and I would like to share our experience that this everything can be a part of the structure, and the structure should be somehow adapted to the company. So what we did as a first step in 2021, because our ESG strategy origins from 2021, we created a structure. So we have, for example, 4 pillars in our ESG strategy: environmental direct, environmental indirect, social, and governance. And this is the setup for us was very important. Of course, the inspiration we found in different white papers from European Central Bank, external auditor companies, external ESG ratings, and analytical experts, and so on. However, this is very important to put everything there, and then step by step to start the development. Support of HR and human capital, how we call it, human capital management department in TBC, is very important, because on this journey we had the support all the time. However, of course, content-wise, ESG department was the owner of the topic, right? So the one thing which is as well emphasized every time by our management and as well members of the board of directors is that it's very important to have 1 or 2 people or even more dedicated to ESG topics, because without ownership, it's very difficult really to incorporate in the daily operations. So now about the ESG Academy, it was already said a lot about this. I would like to emphasize only few things. So what we understood was that in order to create a business case, we need that the people start to think differently. So we understood that it's not about technical training, for example, how to identify a green loan, because it's very technical. However, in order to see that there is something green, you need a certain perspective. And this certain perspective, of course, depends on how you see the world, how you see your work, how you see your company. If ESG is only ethical component of your behavior or company, then it will not influence your job. So employees, first of all, and a company has to think that ESG is a part of the operations. This is something similar to financials, taxation, infrastructure, logistics, and so on. So therefore, this starts, of course, from mindset. And how to change the mindset? We need coaching. We don't need a technical knowledge. Technical knowledge comes later. So this was the inspiration when we thought that we need something where we as well see that it's a long term. We did not want to have like 1 training course or sessions or something like that, a program which would be finished after several months, for example. Therefore, we decided to establish ESG Academy. So Academy means that you already announced that there will be something which will last longer than 1 year, 2 years, and so on. So our ESG Academy, of course, covers not only green mindset and green direction, but as well social diversity and so on. However, this is our first training course, first project, and this is very valuable and important for us. Furthermore, what is as well very important to say is that, like in every case of change, like how the theory of change works, you need to find supporters. Yeah, like there are innovators, then you have supporters, and then at one moment when you do a lot with this, it explodes, and then everyone talks about ESG. We are not yet there, but I hope it will be soon. And we found supporters. So our supporters were, of course, the funds, Eka already mentioned, GGF and EFSA, and people who are as well. So it's not about a fund like something abstract. There are people working who really as well believe in it, and it's as well very important. We found Eka as well, a supporter, Nana, and so on. And when you have a small group of supporters, then you do something, maybe what you don't know in advance, what will be. Because we learned a lot in this process as well. You have to understand that climate change related trainings, there are maybe few, but they are not tailored to Georgia or tailored to local language, local climate change risks and opportunities. So this is really unique. I don't want to say that this training course is only tailored to Georgia, because the structure of training course, when we were developing, we were always thinking that, let's imagine that this training course will not be only performed in Georgia. Let's imagine it will be in another country as well. And so to keep the structure as well and approaches accessible and understandable for other contexts. And this is all very important. Another thing what we had is as well, we are bankers. Bankers are pragmatic people. They always want to have very exact information. So ESG is not so exact, really. You can't calculate so much in it. And creating a business case is always challenging. So our function of our department is as well to translate ESG purposes into the business language, business terminology. And this was another challenge. To go beyond an ethical speech of importance of somehow dealing with climate change, because we can't prevent it, right? We can only be prepared for it, or we can be only prepared to overcome these challenges which we will have. So this was again, so there is a lot of unique knowledge and unique methodologies, examples which you would not find previously. So it's not like summary of a knowledge, but there is a lot of innovation and creativity in it as well. How to make this topic as well as a business case. Furthermore, it's as well very important not to talk about something on some projects which can be done in far away countries, but not to Georgia. And this is as well very important, right? When we give to the people the understanding, the impression, the power that they can do something themselves. This is very important. And this is really the approach of gaming. This is really the approach of group working, because participants learn from each other. There are very different perceptions, really, a lot of discussions. You don't have to really think that people who are participating, they really agree to everything. No, it's very interesting as well to understand how different people really think, and how important it is that so many people come. I can only add as well that in our case, we have groups from 20 to 30 people, because so larger groups are difficult to engage, because we want that everyone has a time and opportunity to express themselves. And of course, lower numbers are as well fine. However, TBCS is a large company. We would like to cover a bit more. For customers, this is as well very interesting. We recently started it, so around 50 customers already joined. I could say that maybe I am allowed to say that from the beginning, there's maybe a little skepticism about how this training course will look like. So people really somehow maybe expect that they will get a lesson about ethics or lesson about how we have to plant the trees. But this is not the topic really, because this training provides very practical knowledge and other view on daily life and work. And at the end, on the last side, we have some feedback. We have, after every training session, feedback. It's anonymous feedback, you have to know, and we have hundreds of them. And what is very important, when you read the feedback, it's not like a formal way to say, yeah, it was good, it was fine, and stuff like that. No, people really try to explain. People really try to write a lot. So you have to imagine they sit there, or they stand, or they play, and so on. 2 days from 10 to 6, 2 days. It's very intensive. It's exhausting as well. So we said that it should not be easy, but it's a very good, reasonable state. However, they write so much. They want to share that it was really valuable for them, and they take a lot from this training. So for our dedication, I will not talk a lot in TBC, because I think when you see how these training courses look and how much knowledge, energy, time was dedicated to it, I think it is clear. I don't think that we need to again emphasize how well DEVELOR and TBC really deal with this topic and how important this topic for us is. So here I will stop, maybe more time for questions around the training, because it's very important as well for colleagues from Human Capital Management Department to really understand how it will look. And one point, it is fun. It's very important that this training is as well very fun. So.
Thank you, Maka, so much for sharing your experience. And if you have any questions, please drop in the chat box. We try to cover that. But we've got to move on because we have really limited time left. And we have already planned a exciting panel discussion where I would like to invite Nana, Maka, you have already introduced and seen, and Michael from Selemi, and very brief introduction to Michael Björne. He has been with Selemi since 2008, working as a concept developer, leading the process of developing business simulations, as well as facilitator, leading creative workshops and delivering learning experiences. Michael was the lead developer of Selemi's sustainability simulation, what you have already seen earlier. And I little bit shortened thank you, Michael, and welcome. Good to see you again.
Good to see you all.
Little bit shortened the question list, what we agreed, just considering the time. So question to all of you. What do you believe is HR's most important responsibility in making ESG more than just a compliance exercise and turning it into a real business driver? If you don't mind, ladies, I would like to ask Michael to start with his answer, because he wasn't on the stage yet. So Michael, if you don't mind.
Of course. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. Yeah, that's a very good question. What is the responsibility of HR turning it from a compliance exercise? I really like it. I think HR has a responsibility in changing the narrative from compliance, from obligations, threats, and boring, into more business opportunities, competitive edge, excitement, and the rewards of being a leader rather than being a resistant follower.
Thank you. Very concise, direct answer. Thank you, Michael. How about you, Nana? How about you, Maka? How would you answer this question?
Thank you for the question, Csaba. I think what's important, first of all, to clearly understand what ESG is about, and maybe it comes as a continuation to Michael's answer, that ESG is not CSR, first of all, that ESG is much more diverse, and no one should be asking HR to implement ESG, but HR's role is to make sure that C-level people, middle management, and front-level people completely understand how to integrate this strategy. And on the other hand, HR should be key reference point for consultant and the board of directors at any company to guide them in terms of entry points. From where should we start? How should our strategy look like? How our capacity development program should be adjusted to the needs? And last but not least, of course, the key role HR society and HR professionals are playing in bringing ESG is this through recruitment, through embedding right questions, right criteria to attract talent to the company.
Thank you. Maka, unmute yourself, please.
Yeah. So first of all, I would say that don't be afraid, because there are topics you might think that it's there are other people who are proficient in it, like, for example, gender topics and wording, sensitive communication, what to say about climate change. However, we all started at a certain point and we all learn while doing. And it's okay to make certain mistakes as well, and not to be sure what will be at the end, because usually very often people want to know what will be the result exactly before they start. And this is again a little mistake with the ESG, because in ESG you don't know where is the end of journey. So the most important is that it is a journey, and you have to start and then ask for support, because ESG people, these are, how to say it, the less competitive people. They share a lot. They share a lot without any fees, any, I don't know, any reservations and so on. And this is as well very important to dig into the community, to ask for the support, and then it will be a great project. And one thing as well, go please and ask your employees and your colleagues who are interested in it. And it will be a surprise for you that most of the people in the organization, they are interested a lot in it. However, they think that maybe the company is not really interested in it, and maybe it's not something very popular. And they will be as well engaged in a lot of initiatives voluntarily. So this is the case for TBC as well.
Thank you. And there's a congratulations from Maya. I love this story, Maka. Great job. She wants to start this ESG journey in Microbank Crystal as well. And we will share the comment with you. It's a little bit longer. So others are appreciating what you have done in your bank as well.
Thanks a lot.
Continue with you, Maka. The question is to you. You've already implemented ESG-related development programs in your organization at TBC Bank. What was your biggest challenge, and what made the biggest difference in overcoming it?
Challenge. So there are different types of challenges. I remember when we, for example, established the department, I had more than 50 meetings, 50, with different departments, colleagues, and so on, to explain what is ESG. So, and yeah, so they all were thinking. So I was like trying to explain to them that I am not planting trees every morning. So this is not my job. My job is to motivate others to plant the trees every morning. So to make someone. So the biggest challenge was to give understanding what is ESG. That it's not, Nana mentioned, it's not CSR, for example. So it's not a short project or program. I have to mention that it's very important to have a support from management. So this was there. However, this support was rather on the high level, like people, ESG team, let's do whatever you want to do. So, and let's see how successful you are. So we were very independent and free to try a lot of things. And this is as well very important, because ESG topics are very specific, and you have a lot of freedom there to do a lot of good projects, and to find as well people who are interested in it. I was really surprised how many colleagues were interested in it. And when I was asking for support, like guiding us how to do it, because for everything you need knowledge, financing, and so on. So we got more support as it was expected by us, really. Even with ESG Academy, I have to say that I only once talked with the people who were supporting it. I was thinking really that I have now to really write a big document, trying for 2 years somehow to convince people and so on, but this was not the case. Opposite, everyone whom we addressed, everyone was ready immediately to support. And this you identify only when you try it. So without trying, you might think that ESG is not popular, especially when we look to the recent developments and certain populistic steps. This is not the reality in reality.
Thank you. Michael, you've already seen many projects with the Selemi Sustainability Simulation. Can you share some typical situations or challenges that participants experience during the program? And what is the most important benefit for the participants and companies using the simulation-based solution?
Yes, of course. Well, the most common things we hear from participants that have experienced Selemi Sustainability are that they have got a big picture understanding of a sustainability transformation, that it's not so hard after all. It's quite a straightforward process. We're demystifying the complexity of sustainability. It's not that hard. So that's the insight they get. They get this big picture understanding. Also, they get the perception that sustainability is not a threat. It's actually a real business opportunity. And they also get the willingness and commitment to make a difference themselves. And typical challenges and situations are that in the simulation, they're constrained with a limited budget, so they need to prioritize which initiatives to implement and when. And this is the tricky balance because there are so many things to consider, like the short-term versus long-term impact. This is always a challenge when it comes to sustainability, and it's well reflected in the simulation as a dilemma. Also, they need to balance the impact on all the parameters within people, planet, and profit. We need to be good at all of them at the same time. We need to have a good return on investment or value for money. So that's what they consider also. Okay, this initiative costs as much, but what can we expect from it in terms of improved sustainability performance? And implementing sustainability initiatives also means a risk. So they talk about the potential risks of backlash, for example, or increasing cost or not sufficient impact as they projected. And one also very important parameter to consider is that what is the risk with not doing it? So actually delaying or postponing a sustainability transformation comes with a risk. And these are things that they need to consider. That when they prioritize between initiatives, they need to let one be until next year, but then things can happen because they're too late. The very last dilemma in the simulation is that they are asked to find a way of communicating their sustainability work of this fictitious company that we simulate. So on one hand, they should be proud of what they've been doing because that could strengthen their brand. But on the other hand, if they brag too much and say things that they cannot live up to, then they will be caught greenwashing. And this creates quite an emotional and very realistic experience in the simulation. Mm-hmm. These are some examples.
Thank you so much. And the last question is to all of you, that recently the regulations to implement ESG changes are postponed again, and how the companies and HR should react to that. What is the right approach when you have more time to implement ESG measures in your company? Probably start with Nana. You are working internationally and seeing many markets.
Well, I can bring one example from yesterday. Literally, I'm in Vienna right now attending ESG conference, and there was a postpone in terms of putting your ESG reports under the CSRD. This is Corporate Responsibility Directive in EU. And I met a colleague of mine, actually been introduced to her yesterday, and she told me that even though we are not obliged to put online our report, ESG report, annual report on the CSRD, we still did it because, Nana, I know that it's coming next year. So I'd rather be ready. I'd rather get as much feedback as possible for different stakeholders. So when this regulation is imposed by the regulatory, my company will be ready. And honestly thinking, I heard a lot of this kind of feedback from my colleague across the globe. And I think that when it comes to, I already mentioned it, but I am happy to repeat that this time, I think it's a blessing for HR people to get ready better in terms of bringing on board right people or training the human capital within the company. So, and I think what's important, Csaba, back to your question, I mean, it's postponing, not canceling ESG reporting regulations. So it's a little bit more time for all of us to get ready for the next wave.
Maka, how do you read that? Do you want to comment that like relaxing the timelines by the regulators?
For us, it's not so, because as I said, we have an ESG strategy. This is a 3 years document, so to say, cycle, and every year we update. And usually we consider as well expectations. So we started, for example, with implementation of TCFD, the national banks regulation. Now we are looking to CSRD and other regulations as well, for example, related to supply chain and so on. IFRS S1 and S2. So these are regulations which can't be implemented in 1, 2, or 3 months. Sometimes you need years to be really exactly compliant with it. So therefore, we don't really slow down with it. So we go with our plan. However, it might be that there is a certain impression to be that it's a different environment. However, yeah, from investors' perspective, from people who are interested, from other stakeholders, maybe not from customers exactly, they are interested a lot in it. So, and therefore, for us, it's as well not only a topic of regulation, but we see as well how we improve ourselves with it. So therefore, this is as well one point there, because we are always in advance of regulation. So this is all not anymore a burden for us, I would say.
Thank you. Michael, what's your view on that?
Yes, so the question is why it's the wrong thing to delay action. Why should we rather step up? So I would say that sustainability is a long-term trend, while politics switch more frequently. And one undeniable fact, as just one example, is that the supply of materials will start to decline because of our planet's limited resources. It's just a matter of time. So the only long-term solution for companies is to find the circular and regenerative business models. Also, when people start to suffer more from the natural disasters, the political trends will shift towards more action and not less. And this is also just a matter of time. So I believe that companies that stay firm on their sustainability work will be the long-term winners.
So the message is to you, dear participants: don't relax, don't lay back, act now. This is the message from the CEREMI sustainability simulation. Further you delay something, there will be a backdrop, and there will be a negative impact. So stay firm, create a strategy, and move on with that. Eka, Nana, Maka, Michael, thank you so much for joining us, and also thanks for Martin, and thank you everybody for joining us. If you are interested in other DEVELOR topics, you can join us in Hungary for the similar topic, ESG transformation in Hungarian language, in June, and we will talk about change management in July, and there's a Poland webinar on 5th of June about how to support mental health in the organization. Please register with the DEVELOR. Please follow us on our social media so that you can participate in similar events where hopefully we can inspire you and share some important topics with you. Thank you so much for being with us. Have a wonderful day, and please act now on ESG and create your sustainability strategy. Once again, thank you so much for being with us, and enjoy your lunch, enjoy your day, and hope to see you very soon on local webinars or in the international webinar of the Rethink HR series. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. Once again.